Welcome to the Madison Challenge video blog. As you know, each and every week we try to bring you a local health professional or someone who has an impact on the health of our community. This week we have none other than Jason Wallace, who is the Food Services Director for the Madison Public Schools, and he works for Chartwells Food Service. He's been working there for the last 5 years, and in the food service altogether since he's been 14 years old. So I'd like to welcome Jason Wallace. So Jason, how much emphasis do you place on offering healthy options to the students in the schools?
Well, we place an enormous amount of emphasis on that, keeping in mind that whatever we serve has to be acceptable to the students. And we try to vary our menu options and add stuff in and take stuff away depending on how popular it is and how acceptable it is to the students. And as time has gone by, we found that the more healthy stuff we offer, the more they take.
So do you feel that if kids are challenged at home to make better choices, do you think they'd make better choices in the cafeteria?
I definitely feel that if kids are challenged at home, that they make better choices at school. It's readily apparent when I do student council meetings and meet with the kids. They ask for things that you can tell that they have at home. And I've gotten requests for things such as asparagus and salmon and that sort of thing. And you can tell that these kids are used to having that kind of thing at home. What they have at home and what they're used to and what they're comfortable with is a huge factor in what they choose for school lunch, especially at the elementary schools. Once they get older, they have a little bit more of a sophisticated taste. But at the elementary schools, if they're used to having these things at home, then they will choose them at school. And we try to offer them at school, but if they're not going to take them, we can't offer them.
Do you have any tips for parents that may make it easier on them to allow for kids when they do come into the cafeteria to see some of the healthier things that they can pick from?
My tip to parents would be to offer your kids healthy choices at school and get them used to those choices right from the get-go, right from when they're eating solid foods. And if you get them used to that, then they'll choose those as they go through life.
So that's interesting. Has anybody ever come in and asked for filet mignon or lobster?
Oh, certainly. No, when I have youth advisory council meetings, I'll get some requests for some foods that I wish I could serve.
Very wonderful.
But it's interesting to hear that calamari,
yes,
all that kind of stuff, and it's interesting.
Great. So you have noticed a trend as if when a student will go up through elementary into middle school into high school. So that poses a challenge as far as offering different types of foods.
Absolutely, and that's why we have different menus for each kind of as the kids age. There's an elementary school menu. There's a Brown School menu, which is 5th and 6th grade. There's a Polson menu, which is a little more sophisticated than that, which is 6th and 7th. And then you get on up to the high school menu where we offer a wide variety of very sophisticated items.
So I think across the country there's a rising concern as to how wholesome cafeteria food can actually be. And you mentioned that you've been trying to use local produce and local fruits and vegetables and trying to keep it as wholesome as possible. How difficult is that, and why does Chartwells really place such an emphasis on that?
Well, locally grown produce is important on several different levels. It's important for the environment. For one thing, when we buy produce that's produced farther away, such as California or Florida or something like that, it has to get to us. So that takes an enormous amount of toll on the environment getting it to us. There's also the other factor of when you buy produce that's produced far away, they have to pick it prior to it being ripe, far prior to it being ripe, so that by the time it gets to us, it still has a little bit of life left on the shelf, but it's not quite it's still usable.
Yes.
So when we buy local produce, not only is it coming from local areas which costs less gas to get to us, but it's picked closer to the point of being completely ripe, which allows it to all the nutrient factors in the produce to be more complete.
So much more fresh.
Yes, and much better for you.
Yes, yeah. Wonderful. So how do you plan on using local produce in the menus and the choices for the Madison school system?
Well, it's been somewhat difficult, but in terms of success, it's been fantastic. We have significantly increased the amount of not only local produce, but just produce in general that we purchase, and that's based on what the kids are willing to take. For local produce, it's December right now, or it's just January right now, so by December of this year, we've already doubled the amount of spending on local produce than we did the entire last year.
Oh, fantastic.
And up to produce, we're just produce in general, our spending money on produce has gone up significantly.
So is this a new conscious decision made
It is.
by the leadership at Chartwells?
Yep, we're trying to offer more and more choices, and we have to ramp it up kind of slowly because we don't want to overbuy and end up throwing a lot of food out.
Oh, yes.
But as we find that as we buy more, the kids will take more, and as we buy better quality,
yes.
So better quality lettuces, better quality options such as zucchini and butternut squash, it's very interesting to see the kids are taking this and they're very happy about it. You know, about all these other options that you kind of wouldn't think would be popular in school, but they're being very acceptable.
Well, that's great. I think that's one other step of making our community that much healthier. Speaking of healthy food, we were talking, and you had mentioned that there's something that you were going to add to the menu each and every week for the Madison Challenge.
Right. So we're adding a few items to our menu for options, and we're using some of the options that we already have, and
Right.
we're just kind of putting a Madison Challenge sticker on those items, and so that if the kids choose those,
Yes.
then they get points toward the Madison Challenge.
Right, so so if there's one that has a lot of vegetables in it, it'll
Sure.
go towards your 7+ fruits and vegetables
Sure.
for the day and this and that. Great. So Jason, would you do us the honor of announcing this week's weekly extra credit points for all of our participants in the Madison Challenge?
Absolutely. Well, if you make one of the soups that's available at the Super Bowl event, you'll get 5 points toward the Madison Challenge.
Jason, I'd like to thank you for, as always, being a part of the Madison Challenge. I know this is your second year, and you're involved on many different levels, from a sponsorship, from also donating food to our events. So I can't thank you enough for all you've done for the challenge, and actually, you know, inspiring us to be healthier with our eating. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.